All right, it's about 7:17 p.m. 7:17 p.m. Eastern time. Ooh. It's coming in on me a little bit. Nothing real crazy. See if I can knock some of this water off. There's the old crypto cave. Not the one on the left, the one on the right, way out there, the little blue sign. She's still holding up. I mean, it's just a bit windy, I would say. Like right now, a gust is coming in. There's a big gust coming. These trees are really swaying. Yeah, now some of these bad boys, I mean, they're not like real thick trees, but they're still big enough. And these are on the neighbor's property, but if they came down, it would probably, I don't think it would hit my house, but it would definitely hit this screened in area. And it's, excuse me, as sad as this sounds right now, we're still renting for a short period of time. We would be closing literally probably this week, early, a little bit early, on this house, had this not happened with this hurricane. Look at that, here it goes. So, in other words, it's not my responsibility should anything happen, as in, damage. I'm just a renter at this point, which is kind of ironic. I was trying to close as fast as humanly possible so we could actually own this house and I could start doing some projects and finishing up, the old crypto cave, finishing up some, closing that room off and that kind of thing and getting some stuff done. But I can't do that because we don't own the house technically until we close. And then when I talked to the guy last Friday, just a few days ago, he said, the mortgage guy, he's like, yeah, everybody's closing early. Next week we're gonna be closed till half the week. So he's like, honestly, it'll probably have to be the week after that we can close. So it's like, whatever, it's fine. There's no big hurry or nothing. However, you see, I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna try to zoom in if possible. Nope. Basically, where that white thing is in the background across the neighbors, well, directly in front of that on the ground is several bicycles. Now, you would think, hey, if hurricane's coming, we're leaving town, which they did. Let's put the bikes inside. So that if our neighbor who just moved in, us, our bikes, if this massive hurricane comes through, doesn't, pick these things up and throw them into the guy's screen porch and possibly through the back window of his house. Nah, let's just leave them out there on the ground. However, having said that, those bikes on the ground ain't moving, hurricane or not. In all honesty, I'm not really concerned. But, not to mention they may have left and not realized it. The kids may never even knew that they were out there like that and they all just left or whatever, who knows. But again, it ain't gonna be my responsibility to deal with it, anything. Although I still have renter's insurance from the other house that we were renting that is good till next year, January. But again, why would I even need to use that if I'm not responsible anyways? I'm gonna use my insurance. But I talked to the realtor a little earlier. He's like, hey, just so you know that you're a renter, and any damage or anything that happens, they're a commercial company. They flip houses. Believe me, they've got insurance and they've got contractors they can use to come out and fix things and that kind of stuff. I said, yeah, that's cool. I was like, well, fingers crossed, man. So far, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Garage completely intact. absolutely nothing wrong over there. Again, now there's one big tree we have. If that sucker were to go over the wrong way, if that sucker goes over right there, again, the wrong way, yeah, that could hit the house. But ain't no one can be over on that side. We're going to be in the center. There's actually a room that is a small room. It was like an office. And no windows, no nothing, just a door in a closet in there. And behind that is a bathroom, which you can't really get to anyways. But that's like our little safe room, if you will, if anything goes down, like, you know, because again, there's tornadoes and stuff that are spawning off of this, even though the hurricane or whatever is not really up here yet. You know, you turn on the news and every county around here, there's at least a warning coming and going. And usually by the time they mention it, hey, tornado warning for such and such, oh, never mind, it's gone. Because they just whip up and then they're gone. They whip up and they're gone because of this, just the crazy winds from the hurricane, which is kind of a good thing. You don't want to hurt a tornado lingering around anyways. But, you know, again, it's almost 7:30. This thing should really be hitting us harder, or the hardest, way later on tonight, as in, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock kind of a thing. And I don't know that I'll be awake or not. I might be sleeping through this damn thing. Like, you know, I'm going to go take a little nap. But I took a couple of naps already. And earlier today thinking, well, you know what, not doing anything, laying around on the couch. I'll get some sleep in right now so that later on I can live stream this thing. You know, if it's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning or something, I got to go out there and live stream. You know, I'll go ahead and do it. Just go out there in my bathing suit, get my powerful flashlight, and just live stream a bit, you know, see what happens. But if it's not really that bad, I don't know. I'm still going to try. You know, I'm still going to go ahead and try to live stream anyways, just to do it. I've never had to do anything like this before. So even though this doesn't appear to be that powerful, it's already slowing way down. What the hell? You know, if we get, they were already saying like an hour ago, we're going to see gusts. In other words, the most powerful temporary gusts of wind of like, you know, 70 mile an hour, 74 mile an hour, which barely becomes a category 1. But that was way earlier. And it looks like it's slowing down even more now. And those, again, are gusts, not actual sustained speeds of wind, you know, wind speed. Like you just saw, those trees moving around, now they're pretty much still. You know, a gust coming through of, you know, 70-something mile an hour, then it stops, goes down to 30 or 40 or whatever it is. So, you know, again, not real concerned. My wife and kids were ready to go to South Carolina to a friend's house, and I'm like, you know, we're in a good ways, guys. You know, I really don't know if we have anything to worry about, even if this thing does hit hard up here, like comes in through Tampa as a category 4 or something. Yeah, there's gonna be some wind and some stuff, but I think overall the house is intact. I ended up boarding up. We've got a door right. Well, I'll show you. Right over there by those windows on the right is a door to the house, and there's some wind out there. It's a giant glass door, you know. So I'm like, well, it's got wood on the outer edges of it, but it's mostly glass. I'm like, you know, I could just see something, you know, it's downhill here, so something scooting along down the road, you know, bang, and slams into it. Big, you know, piece of a overfallen, you know, branch or whatever, because those things will come down in little chunks, 6 inches, 8 inches, a foot, and you pick one up, it's like, hey man, this thing weighs about, you know, 12 pounds or so. It's all waterlogged, you know, like the ones I've been cleaning up in the yard just after regular rainstorms. I didn't want it to like roll up and hit that glass and then break the thing, so I basically put a piece of wood over that door, and then the back of that garage, there's essentially a window that could break, I guess, so I went ahead and boarded that one up. Everything else I left alone. But it did make me think, like, you know, what if I had to get some hurricane shutters installed ultimately in this, you know? Or what? I know it has double pane windows. I don't know if that's automatically considered hurricane proof. I never asked the guy, hey, are these, you know, hurricane proof windows, or what the story is. I do know that they're double pane for sure. If you look at the pool, we drained about, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches below the water line now. And it's got a lip. I don't know if you can kind of see that, the lip sticking out, but just below that lip, there's about 1.5 to 2 inches of space now. That was about 6 or 8 inches earlier today. So I don't know that, again, I don't know that we're gonna have too much of an issue with this thing overflowing. There we go. Here's a gust. There's a gust. There's a gust. I don't got the cover over my phone right now, that one I was telling you about that's like waterproof. So it's getting a little bit wet from here from time to time. Let me back up a little bit. Got a little cover here, so. Yeah, so anyways, what you just saw is probably the biggest we've seen so far, that kind of wind, that kind of movement in the trees. I'm sure it's going to get worse, obviously, as the storm gets closer, but it's getting weaker and weaker. We'll be lucky if the thing gets over here as a Category 2. Probably it'll end up being a 1. They were saying it might be a 3 before it gets here, way earlier. And you look at this, all the news articles, all the not necessarily news articles, but these newscasters, these pundits out there. This, and I remember talking about the video the other day. This thing's we may need to recategorize these and add a Category 6 because this storm is going to be a monster. Yeah, it did some serious damage in the Caribbean. Of course. As a matter of fact, any hurricane that goes through there does damage because there's nothing there. A little island. When it gets to land like it always does, even if, Florida, this thing's more than, 1.5 times wider than the state of Florida. It's going to be devastating. Yeah, look, we know there's power out. I still got power at my house right now. I still got power. And this thing's, it's going to be here shortly. Am I expecting power all night long? Probably not. I mean, again, tree branches falling, hitting power lines, that's expected. But I just see all these newscasters, telling you how bad it's going to be. Tampa Bay is going to get 10 to 15 foot of storm surge. And last forecast was a few feet of storm surge maximum. Last I saw on TV anyways. It's just like they keep repeating it and how bad it's going to be. It's going to be the worst one ever. It's going to be horrible. And look, I understand it's going up the coast. It's going to cause some damage all the way along, boats and everything else. We get it. But that happens every time there's a freaking hurricane. It just amazes me how much they pump this stuff up. And I was telling my wife, look, we don't need to go. You guys want to go to South Carolina, you guys go. I'm not going to South Carolina. I'm staying here because there's only 2 types of people that stay behind on the storm when storms come through like this, especially big, powerful storms. Ones that could be worse than this, and that's looters, and then the people who want to stay to keep looters away from their property. There's only 2 types of people who are going to stay behind. So I'm that one who's going to stay behind and deal with any potential looters, and protect my property and everything. But I was telling her, like, look, Evelyn, we're not by the coast. We are quite far away from the coast. We are northeast a good ways from Tampa Bay and Tampa in general. Like, all the trees and all the buildings and all the stuff in between there and here, it's going to slow this thing down even if it makes landfall as a pretty high Category storm, hurricane. So I'm just like, I wouldn't get too excited or, antsy about leaving. It's going to be horrible. Look, if a tree falls and hits something, it's whatever. A tropical storm can do that. Do I want to pack up my stuff and head to South Carolina, the answer? No, I don't. But I told them, if you guys want to go, go for it. Get in the van. I just put, basically Saturday, I noticed we had a slow leak in the right rear tire. And there's a tire shop, not too far away. So I took it over there. Sure enough, I called first. They're open. I said, sweet. And by the way, I want you to patch the back tire, but do you happen to have 2 front brand new tires for this car? No, but my other store does, and they're open. Be an hour before I can get them. I said, go for it. I'll head down now. So I went down there. He got the 2 brand new tires for the front because it really needed it in the van. My wife's car. And then we got the right rear patched properly so that if she decided to go, it's ready. Brand new tires in the front. The rear are actually quite new as it is. Maybe a year old, if that. And just a little piece of metal, like shrapnel looking thing, was stuck in the tire. They took it out and patched it, put it back on. And I was just telling him, go ahead. You can go up there if you want. I'm just gonna stay. But they decide, no, we're gonna stay too. We'll all just stay. My mother-in-law's here too. She lives in Central Florida, but she, I'm like, Evelyn, you're having your mom come, and this thing's coming in at us. She's like, I know, but the original forecast was that it was going to up straight up the center part of Florida. I said, exactly. See what I mean? You end up going somewhere. And I was like, what happens, by the way, if you decide to leave and something happens on the interstate and you guys are stuck on the interstate? And then you're dealing with a storm, even the outer bands on the freaking interstate, possibly. I was like, it just, I don't know if it's worth it. So they said, yeah, we'll just stay. At that point, it's a little too late to leave by then. So, anyways, just a little update. Let me look at the trees while I talk. And we'll see about doing a live stream a little later. Take care.